Hi everyone, on this video we're going to be taking a look at a very typical question they get all the time, which is what is the point of English? So what we're going to do is we're going to look through the different aspects of English. We're going to think about exploring the benefits of studying English for the different levels. So this is going to talk about ESOL, entry level, functional skills and GCSE English as well. So if we have a look at the images, I want you to think about how might they relate to the subject of English. So we have here public speaking in the bottom left hand corner, we have friendships and making relationships, and then we also have like work and projects and things like that. And essentially all of these things are things that would involve some aspect of English, whether it's speaking, listening, communicating, reading or writing. All of it really has a big impact on how you communicate and your understanding of English as well. What is meant by a passport qualification? Now, this is a term that I've heard bandied around quite a bit, and it's really something that you only really consider when you're thinking about, let's say, entering the job market or further study and qualifications. So, a passport qualification is a qualification that will help you gain access to additional qualifications and opportunities in life. So, this is particularly important if you're thinking about, let's say, studying in college or university. It might be that you might not want to pursue a career in maths or in English, but you still would be expected to have a certain level of qualification in both maths and English to do most higher level courses, or even a lot of jobs these days would expect at least a level 2 or GCSE level in maths or in English. An important thing to think about as well is think about a stretch and challenge task. And I want you to think about what are the different levels of qualification for maths and English. And this can be quite confusing because depending on where you want to work or where you want to go in terms of further study, their actual criteria might change quite a bit. So it's really important that you're aware of the different levels as well. So now if we look at the table, you can see the different levels in maths and in English, and you can also see the different levels we have and what they mean. That's what we're going to go through now anyway. So the first one I want to talk about here is ESOL. So if you're not too sure what I mean by this, this is English for another language, focused on building skills for basic communication. So let's say if you've recently came to the country, or if you need to improve your general skills for speaking, listening and communicating, then ESOL is going to be the best route for you. Now, when you do go to a college, it's likely they'll get you to do some form of initial assessment, known as a BKSB. And if you are someone who's English as a second language, it's very likely that you'd be going on to one of these. Now, if you do go on to ESOL, then you will be expected to have entry 1, entry 2, and entry 3, which is going to be very similar but also different from functional skills entry level, which we're going to speak about in a moment. So entry level English or entry level maths. Okay, so we have three different levels. Entry 1 is the lowest one, then you have entry 2, and then you have entry 3. Once you've passed all of these levels, you'll then be able to progress onto level 1. So if we just focus on entry level just for a minute, this level is the lowest level for maths and for English, and will focus on basic skills. Level 1. So when it comes to English in particular, this is where you're just going to develop all of those skills for reading, writing, communicating, your grammar, your spelling, your punctuation, your basic kind of skills for communication, and they'll help you to actually progress on to level 2. Now the reason why I've put in the column where it says what do they mean, and I've put this will help develop your skills so that you can progress on to level 2. Level 1 is a qualification, you do get a certificate for it, that's absolutely fantastic. But generally speaking, in my mind, level 1 is only as important as your ability to get onto level 2. For most employers will be asking for this. So for level 2, this level is often considered equivalent to a GCSE, but you must check with the training provider or employer that you're going to be looking for. Okay, so the problem is with this one is that a lot of places will tell you, don't worry, a level 2 is absolutely the same as a GCSE. However, in reality, it's simply not the case. You have to make sure you check with the training provider, especially universities, and also the kind of course that you want to be going on to. Is level 2 going to be deemed equivalent in their mind? Now, if it was me, if I was a student and I already have a level 2, I would not stop there. I would think, you know what, I've already done level 1, level 2, I'm going to try and progress now onto GCSE. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because a lot of the skills you would have gained in level 1 and in level 2 will help you out in the GCSE exam. And also this is kind of the pinnacle of the qualifications that we offer, especially at a college as well. You'd only need something higher than a GCSE in English if you want to go off and study English as an actual subject at university or something like that. So for GCSE then, this is the highest level offered at most colleges and often the highest level of English or maths qualification needed. So if it was me and you're already studying, you're already doing your level 1, you're already doing your level 2, I would keep going while it is fresh in your mind and try and go for the GCSE as well, because you really don't know what the future is going to hold. You might decide to change your employment, you might decide to go on for additional qualifications, and then there's nothing to stop that organisation or that workplace from saying you need a GCSE to progress onto that next level. So all of these levels are important, but it's really good to have an idea of what do you want to achieve while you're studying maths and English. Teacher's top tips. So here's a few bits of advice to help you plan for your studies and for your revision. Now a lot of things have changed these days, so here are some of the kind of key tips that I can narrow down for you. So first of all, we'll start off with ESOL, which again is English as a second language. So if you're a learner who's studying English as a second language, you should do the following things. So make sure you're communicating regularly in English. So it might be, let's say, that you go and you work in a factory and there's other people that speak the same language that is your native language. It's really easy to get into that habit of just communicating them in that language. So it's important that you actually communicate regularly in English to get that practice, because the more you do it, the stronger you'll be in that subject. Secondly, watch films or TV shows in English and use subtitles. Sometimes this works really well for some people, sometimes they don't necessarily like it, so have a play about with it as well. You can also do this on YouTube as well by having the subtitles enabled. Next, read newspapers and articles online. So it's very rare that you see anyone really holding a newspaper these days. However, it's very easy to access an article with the use of a phone. So it's important that you try and read some of these. You get used to different levels of English as well, because some things are written in a more intelligent way and some things are a little bit harder to access. So the more practice you have with this, the easier it's going to be later on. For entry level, if you're studying on this level, you should think about, can you familiarise yourself with the alphabet? Now this might seem like a strange thing to say, but with this what you need to do is you might have a typical question where you have to put 3 words in alphabetical order, and oftentimes these words will start with the same letter, so then you need to make sure that you're confident with the order of the alphabet and go to the next letter within that word to see which one goes first in the chronological order. Next, understand how to use a dictionary. So if you are doing entry level, it might mean that you need to develop your spelling, and using a dictionary is quite a useful skill to have, and the more you get used to it, the quicker you can do it as well, because it can be quite an arduous task. And then finally, practice reading both online and physical material. Just the same with ESOL then, the more that you engage with this, the more that you actually try and do work outside of your class and your regular lessons, the quicker you're going to progress generally. And then finally, for level 1 and for level 2, you'll need to do the following things. So same with the other levels, read online and physical material, develop your understanding of SPAG. If you're not too sure what we mean by this, we mean spelling, punctuation and grammar. And finally, practice writing for different purposes. So what we mean by this is, are you writing to inform, persuade or advise, because each of them come up quite often in the writing element of the level 1 and level 2 functional skills exam. So the more you practice this, the easier you're going to understand things like tone and the mood and the actual purpose of your writing as well. Further study. If you want help and support during your course, check out the following channels or get in touch. So the first one I'd like to bring to your attention is this one called Bookworm Teaching. They've got an absolutely fantastic amount of resources on here, both with English and with functional skills, that can help you through every single element of your course. And then underneath it you have my channel, which is obviously the one we're on right now, which is Right On Resources. I will make sure that we're uploading a video every single week, and if you've got any particular areas that you're struggling with or need extra support, feel free to get in touch with any of us at either of the channels as well. More than happy to help or create additional content if needed. If you think about the teacher's top tip as well, it really helps us out if you subscribe to keep up to date to the latest videos, because we are constantly making this material. Our students are going through this process just the same as you, so it's important if you kind of keep up to date and keep on track with what's going on. In terms of our next lesson then, we're going to go through the following things. So we're going to recall some of the key language devices. So this is going to be important both for reading, writing and speaking and listening. We're going to understand the key skills needed for the reading assessment, and then finally you're going to apply your understanding to a new reading assessment. So if you need any additional support or help, new videos will be uploaded every single week. Alternatively, leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel, Bookworm Teaching, for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thanks ever so much for listening, guys, and all the best for your work and revision in the future. Bye bye.